Hey there, coin hunters. Ever dreamed of having a piece of pocket change that's worth way more than a few cents? Well, buckle up, because today, we're talking about a little penny with a big surprise, the 1962 D Lincoln cent, the one with a Denver mint mark. This is no ordinary penny, though. We're talking about a single copper coin that sold for a mind-blowing $946,000. Yes, almost $1 million for a penny you might have accidentally handed over for a stick of gum. Let's dive into what makes this 1 cent wonder so special, and who knows, you might have a mini fortune hiding in your piggy bank. Alright, first things first. Why would anyone pay close to $1 million for a penny? Let's break it down. This particular penny is part of the Lincoln cent series, which started in 1909, and it's from 1962. Now, most 1962 D pennies are only worth, well, a penny. But sometimes, one tiny detail can make all the difference. In the coin world, we're talking about mint marks, condition, and some quirks that make certain pennies worth a heck of a lot more than their face value. So, what's the story with the 1962 D penny? Here's where it gets interesting. This penny was minted in Denver, which you can tell by the little D below the date. But beyond that, certain coins like this one can be errors. Errors sound like mistakes, and they are, but in the world of coins, errors are what collectors absolutely love. They're basically the rock stars of the coin world. The 1962 D penny that went for close to $1 million had an error that makes it super rare. One common error for 1962 D pennies is called a double die. Basically, when the coin was struck, the design was stamped twice, leading to a slightly doubled appearance on parts of the penny. Imagine seeing the date or the letters with a ghostly shadow. Spooky, right? But collectors go wild for that. It's like finding the secret menu at a restaurant, rare, unique, and worth a lot more than the regular stuff. Let me tell you a quick story. I was once convinced I had found a super rare coin myself. It was a 1962 penny, looked pretty old, and I even thought I saw a double stamp. For a good hour, I was ready to buy a yacht with my new penny fortune. I got my magnifying glass, examined every inch, then looked up its value online. Turns out, I had a very average penny that looked cool but wasn't worth more than, well, a cent. So, lesson learned, don't throw the yacht party until you're absolutely sure. Back to the real treasure here. To get close to that $946,000 mark, a 1962 D penny has to be in impeccable condition. We're talking about a state where it looks like it just came out of the mint, like it hasn't aged a day. In coin grading terms, this would be called MS67 or even higher. The MS stands for mint state, which is like the gold standard for coins. An MS67 coin is a pristine specimen, no scratches, no wear, nothing that would make it look less than perfect. So, if you're checking your pennies for rare coins, make sure they're in top-notch condition, or at least as close as you can get. And if you find one that has that doubled look or a unique minting quirk, it might just be time to do a happy dance. Alright, let's wrap this up. The 1962 D Lincoln cent might just be a copper miracle for anyone who stumbles across it. The key takeaways: look for that Denver mint mark, check for any signs of doubling, and if you find a penny in incredible condition, you might be holding on to more than just lunch money. Who knew a penny could be worth a house? Before you run off to raid your piggy bank or grandma's penny jar, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. If you want more insider tips on how to spot valuable coins, or just love hearing about everyday things that could make you rich, this is the channel for you. We're diving into a story that could have you checking every jar of pennies in your house. Imagine this, a penny worth $942,000. Yes, you heard me right. We're talking about the 1976 D Lincoln 1-cent penny that's currently valued at nearly $1 million. You might already be wondering, how on earth does a single penny get close to $1 million? So let's unpack the magic behind this specific coin, why it's worth so much, and how you could spot one too. Alright, let's start with a bit of backstory on this little beauty. The 1976 D Lincoln cent was minted at the Denver Mint, hence the little D on the coin. Now, you may know that 1976 was a big year in the US. It was the country's bicentennial, America's 200th birthday, so people were already getting nostalgic about the past. That spirit of nostalgia even extended to coins, and there were tons of commemorative coins minted that year. But Lincoln cents weren't even supposed to be all that special in 1976. They weren't minted with any unique features, and they weren't released as collectible coins. So why is this coin valuable? The value of these specific coins can come down to a few things, but mostly, it's all about condition and rarity. For this penny to be worth nearly $1 million, it has to be in mint state, meaning it's basically in perfect condition, not even a fingerprint smudge. Plus, some of these rare coins have specific errors, like doubling on the letters or other tiny imperfections, that collectors go crazy for. And as we know, the rarer the coin, the higher the demand, and the higher the demand, the higher the price. Now, how did one get so valuable? There's a story that always cracks me up. Imagine a guy, let's call him Ted. So Ted has this jar of pennies he's been adding to for years. One day, he spills the jar all over his floor, and as he's cleaning up, he notices this one penny that just looks different. It's shiny, almost brand new, even though it's 40 years old. Ted decides to do a quick Google search, and sure enough, this little penny was one of those rare, valuable 1976 D Lincoln pennies. Long story short, he ended up selling that coin for almost $1 million. Now, he's probably set for life, all thanks to a penny he found in his living room. Imagine that, your floor mess could literally be worth a fortune. Now, you're probably wondering, how do I know if I have a 1976 D Lincoln cent that's worth something? First, check for that D mint mark, that's the key detail showing it's from the Denver Mint. Then, look at the condition. If it's shiny and near perfect, you might be onto something special. You could always take it to a coin dealer or get it appraised if you think you've hit the jackpot. But the thing is, even if it's not worth nearly $1 million, some of these pennies in good condition could still fetch a few hundred or even thousands of dollars. Not a bad return on 1 cent, right? I have to share a little personal story with you too. When I first got into coin collecting, I didn't know anything about mint marks or what to look for in terms of value. I used to think I was rich if I had $10 in spare change. One day, I came across an old penny in my collection that looked odd. I excitedly took it to a dealer, thinking it could be worth a small fortune. Turns out, it wasn't even worth $1. But hey, that's how you learn, and now, I know what to look for, and so do you. Alright, folks, let's wrap it up. So, if you have a jar of coins, don't overlook those pennies, there might be a treasure hidden right there. Take a look, especially for those 1976 D mint mark pennies. You never know, you could be sitting on a fortune without even realizing it, and hey, if you're as fascinated by this kind of stuff as I am, hit that subscribe button. I'm here to help you uncover the hidden gems in your spare change, with tips, tricks, and all things coin collecting. Who knows, the next $1 million penny could be sitting in your house right now. Imagine finding a single penny, and instead of it just sitting in your piggy bank, it could pay off your mortgage or even buy you a luxury car. Sounds crazy, right? But that's the reality with one very special penny, the 1977 Lincoln cent without a mint mark. This little guy is worth a jaw-dropping $940,000. Yes, you heard that right. Not 940 pennies, but dollars. And today, I'm here to break down why this penny is so valuable and how you can check if you might have one of these gold mines in your own pocket. First, let's cover the basics. The 1977 Lincoln cent is pretty common, but what makes some of them worth so much? It all comes down to that tiny little mint mark, or, in this case, the lack of one. See, back in the day, mint marks were used to show where a coin was made. If a coin was struck in Philadelphia, it usually had no mint mark, while other mints, like Denver and San Francisco, used a D or an S. But here's the kicker. A small number of 1977 pennies left the mint with a rare error, missing any trace of a mint mark, and they've since become incredibly rare. This rarity is what drives the value way up. Think about it like a typo on a limited edition t-shirt. Because it's unique, collectors go wild for it. Only this typo is on a penny and worth nearly $1 million. How's that for a comeback story? A penny from the 70s that nobody paid much attention to could now make you richer than your wildest dreams. Talk about vintage value. Now, let me share a quick story with you. I remember one summer when I was a kid, helping my grandma clean out her attic. I stumbled across a dusty old coin jar and thought I'd hit the jackpot. In my head, I was already buying a mountain of candy. I sorted through them, got excited over a few shiny ones, and then just shrugged off the rest. Years later, I realized I had no idea what was in that jar. And who knows, there could have been a rare penny just sitting there. That jar is probably still sitting in her attic, but the thought has kept me up at night more than once. So, what should you look for if you think you might have this penny? Start by examining any 1977 pennies you come across. Look closely at the front. If there's no mint mark at all, no D or S under the date, then you're in the game. But here's a warning. Don't get too excited just yet. It's not that simple. A 1977 no mint mark penny still needs to be in top condition, which means minimal wear and tear. If it looks like it's been through a few rounds in a washing machine, the value will take a serious hit. Another key factor is color. Yep, pennies come in different shades: brown, red, and red-brown. A red 1977 no mint mark penny is the holy grail, thanks to its brightness and shine. Red pennies are rare because the copper tends to dull over time, especially if they've been hanging around for decades. So, if you find a no mint mark penny from 1977 that's still red, you might just have something special. Now, let's talk money. A high-grade 1977 no mint mark penny can go for six figures at auctions. In fact, the record price for one of these is $940,000. That's more than some people's houses. Imagine paying for a house with a single penny. It's possible, and people have done it. If you have one of these pennies, you're not just holding onto a coin, you're holding onto a piece of history and a potential fortune. So, what's the moral of today's story? Never underestimate the power of a little pocket change. That penny in your drawer or down the back of your couch could be worth way more than you think. And here's a tip: start checking those coins. Pull out any jar of loose change you have and give it a look over. Who knows? Your penny for luck might actually be your penny for life. You're at the grocery store, digging through your pockets to pay, and out comes a penny. You think, it's just a penny, right? Wrong. What if I told you that one little coin could be worth $935,000? Yes, you heard that right, almost $1 million. And we're not talking about a golden doubloon or a rare silver dollar. Nope. It's a regular old penny, or, at least, it looks like one. Today, we're diving into the mysterious and highly valuable 1984 Lincoln 1-cent piece with no mint mark. I'm going to share why this penny is worth a fortune, how you can spot one, and why it's time to start examining every penny you come across. Let's find out if you could be sitting on a life-changing treasure. Alright, so let's break this down. First, let's talk about the no mint mark thing. Normally, you'll see a letter on your penny, D for Denver or S for San Francisco, telling you where it was minted. But some 1984 Lincoln pennies were made without any mint mark at all. Why? It's one of those quirky minting mistakes that makes coin collectors go wild. These no mint mark errors are super rare, which is why they're so valuable. Now, let's get to the juicy part. Why exactly are these 1984 no mint mark pennies worth so much? Here's the scoop: because this error is so unusual, collectors are willing to pay top dollar for one in pristine condition. That's how one of these pennies hit the market with a price tag of over $935,000. Just think, you could literally trade one of these coins for a luxury home or a collection of sports cars, all from a single penny. Now, let me tell you about a little story from my own experience. Back in the day, I didn't think twice about coins. I just tossed them into a jar on my dresser. But then I started getting into coins, kind of by accident, and I learned how valuable some of these little guys can be. One day, I spent hours going through that jar, hoping I'd find a goldmine. Let's just say I found a whole lot of regular old pennies. No luck, that time. But hey, now every penny gets a good look before it goes back into circulation. You never know what might be hiding in plain sight. So, how can you tell if your penny is the one? Here's what you need to do. First, check the date. 1984 is what we're looking for. Then, take a look where the mint mark should be, which is right under the date. If it's blank, you might have something valuable. But a word to the wise, just having no mint mark isn't enough to get rich. Your penny's condition matters. You want to look for sharp details, no major scratches, and, ideally, the red-brown color that says it hasn't been passed around too much. You're probably wondering how likely it is to actually find one of these pennies. Honestly, the chances are pretty slim. But let's be real, the thrill is in the hunt. And hey, even if you don't find this exact one, there are plenty of other rare pennies out there that can still fetch a nice chunk of change. So why not start your own treasure hunt? It's a hobby that could really pay off. So, there you have it. The 1984 no mint mark Lincoln penny. Who knew something so small could hold so much value? Next time you get some change, don't just dump it in a jar or toss it in your car console. Check those dates, look for mint marks, and see if you're sitting on a little fortune. You never know, the next rare penny could be right in your pocket. Imagine going through your change and stumbling upon a penny that could be worth over $900,000. Yep, we're talking about nearly $1 million from just a simple 1-cent coin you might already have lying around. And the kicker? This penny doesn't look all that different from the ones we've been ignoring for years. Let's dive into the wild world of the 1989 no mint mark Lincoln penny and why collectors are willing to spend a fortune on it. By the end, you might just want to grab a magnifying glass and start checking your spare change. Alright, so, what's the big deal with this little penny? First, let's talk about what no mint mark actually means. If you take a look at most US coins, you'll notice tiny letters on them, like D for Denver or P for Philadelphia, which show where they were minted. But when we say no mint mark, we mean there's literally no letter on the coin. And that missing mark can make all the difference in the world of rare coins. Now, in the case of this 1989 Lincoln penny, some of these coins were mistakenly released without any mint mark at all. These error coins are rare, which makes them valuable. But here's the real kicker, one of these coins sold for a whopping $930,000. That's right, someone paid almost $1 million for a penny that most people wouldn't give a second glance. Now, you might be thinking, how could that possibly be worth that much? It's all about rarity, my friend. When something is rare, collectors go wild for it. It's like the unicorn of pennies. And, like any other kind of collecting, once something becomes super rare, the price starts to skyrocket. Imagine, it's like finding a first-edition comic book buried in your attic or stumbling upon a rare baseball card at a yard sale. The 1989 no mint mark penny is the coin collector's version of striking gold. Let me tell you a funny story. A few months back, I was helping my mom clear out some boxes in her garage. We were tossing old magazines, cables that don't work with anything anymore, and, you guessed it, coins. I jokingly said, "Hey, maybe we'll find $1 million penny in here." She laughed it off, but you better believe I started looking a little closer at every single coin. Spoiler alert, no $1 million penny, yet. But hey, it was still a fun little treasure hunt, and now I check every single penny that crosses my path. So, how do you know if you've got this magic penny? Here's the key, you'll need to check the heads side of the coin. If you see 1989 under Lincoln's portrait and no mint mark below the date, it could be worth a small fortune. Of course, not every 1989 penny without a mint mark is going to be worth hundreds of thousands. It all depends on its condition, and if it's truly a verified error coin. Some people go all out and get these pennies graded by professionals to confirm their value. Coin grading companies will inspect the coin, make sure it's genuine, and assign it a grade based on its condition. The better the condition, the higher the grade, and the more it could be worth. Now, grading isn't cheap, but if you've got a potential $930,000 coin, it might just be worth it. Alright, folks, it's time to wrap up, but here's the takeaway. That little penny in your pocket? It might just be worth a whole lot more than you think. The 1989 no mint mark penny is rare, but hey, somebody's got to have it, why not you? And who knows, maybe your next trip to the coffee shop will lead you to $1 million penny at the bottom of your change. Have you ever just casually emptied out your pocket change, looked down at a penny, and thought, just a penny? Well, hold on to your seats, because today, we're diving into a coin that might just make you question every penny you've ever tossed aside. Believe it or not, one of these little copper beauties, a 1997 Lincoln cent with a D mint mark, is valued at a jaw-dropping $923,000. That's right, nearly $1 million for one single, teeny-tiny coin. So stick around, because we're about to break down why this penny is worth so much, how you might have one lying around, and what makes it so special. Alright, let's get into the good stuff. So, you're probably wondering, why on earth would a 1997 penny be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars? It's not made of gold or encrusted with diamonds. Nope, it's all because of a combination of rarity, demand, and a little sprinkle of coin collector magic. First off, this penny was minted in Denver, that's what the D stands for. Now, you might think, Denver. They've been cranking out coins for ages, what's the big deal? Well, for some reason, in 1997, a handful of these pennies came out looking different. We're talking about something subtle here, maybe a misstrike, a doubling error, or even a small imperfection in the die. To the untrained eye, it might look like any old penny. But to collectors, these little details make it insanely rare and valuable. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Have you ever watched those treasure hunting shows where someone finds a rusty old can and discovers it's worth a fortune? The 1997 D penny is kind of like that. You could find one in your spare change jar, or maybe tucked away in your car's cup holder. People have found these coins in the most random places, and those who've sold them, let's just say their bank accounts got a serious upgrade. Let me tell you a funny story. I was at my aunt's house last year, helping her clean out her junk drawer, you know, the one with random receipts, keys to who knows what, and a bunch of loose change. Well, she handed me a handful of pennies and said, "Can you take these to the bank or something?" I chuckled and, half-jokingly, told her, "What if one of these is worth $1 million?" She just laughed. But now, looking back, I'm seriously thinking about calling her up and telling her to dig through that drawer. You never know, right? So, if you're sitting there with a 1997 D penny in your hand, don't go spending it just yet. Here's what to look for to see if you might have one of these treasure pennies. Make sure it has that D on it. No D. Sorry, not the right penny. This is where it gets a bit tricky. You might see slight doubling on the date or lettering, or something unusual on Lincoln's profile. It could be something subtle, so take a close look, maybe even grab a magnifying glass if you have one. If your penny looks fresh off the press with that shiny, copper glow, it could be even more valuable. Collectors love mint state coins that haven't been tossed around too much. If you think you've got one of these gems, don't just list it on eBay right away. Take it to a professional coin grader or dealer. They can help confirm its authenticity and get you the best price. Alright, treasure hunters, that's it for today's adventure into the world of valuable coins. Who knew a 1997 D penny could be worth so much? Next time you're digging through your spare change or cracking open a piggy bank, keep an eye out. You never know if that little copper coin could be your ticket to a mini fortune. When's the last time you really looked at a penny? Not just for, like, a split second before tossing it in a jar. I mean really looked. Because today, we're diving into a simple, unassuming penny that could make you a lot richer, the 2003 no-mint mark Lincoln 1 cent. Yes, we're talking potentially $918,000 richer. That's right, nearly $1 million for one single penny. Sound wild? Well, that's exactly what we're here to talk about. So buckle up, grab your piggy bank, and let's see if you've got a mini fortune hiding in your pocket. So, why the big fuss over this little coin? Let's start with a little background. Back in 2003, millions of pennies were minted, and most were stamped with a mint mark indicating where they were made. But some got out without one, no D for Denver, no S for San Francisco. It's just blank. And these no mint mark pennies? They're special. Like super rare Pokemon card special, but for coin collectors. Now, here's where things get interesting. Most of these 2003 no mint mark Lincoln cents might just be worth a little over face value, like a couple of cents. But there's a very rare few out there that can be worth way more, as in, an estimated $918,000. Why so high? Because every once in a while, collectors and auction houses go a little wild for these anomalies, especially if they're in top-notch, uncirculated condition. I mean, if someone's willing to pay, it's worth what they say, right? Okay, funny story. A couple of months ago, I was clearing out my desk drawer. You know how it is, there's that one drawer where you throw old receipts, keys to who knows what, and, of course, loose change. So, I'm sifting through it, and there it is, a penny with no mint mark. My heart skipped a beat. Could it be? Could I be sitting on a little goldmine here? So, I grab my magnifying glass, get out my phone, and start Googling like a madman, comparing every scratch and shine on this penny to what I was seeing online. For a good 15 minutes, I was convinced I just found the motherlode. And then, reality check. It wasn't quite the uncirculated beauty worth almost $1 million, but hey, it was still a great reminder to check those coins. Alright, so here's the deal. If you find a 2003 no mint mark penny, don't celebrate too early. First, you'll want to check its condition. Coin collectors have a whole system called grading, which ranks coins from poor condition to that perfect, shiny uncirculated state. If your penny looks like it's been through the washing machine a few times or has a little love from everyday life, it probably won't fetch the big bucks. But if it's in pristine condition, think straight from the mint kind of perfect, then you might just have a shot. These kinds of coins, known as MS-65 or higher, are where the serious value kicks in. So if yours is basically sparkling, then congratulations. You might have hit the coin jackpot. So, what's the moral of the story? Keep an eye on those pennies, my friends. You never know when a seemingly worthless coin could actually change your life. And hey, even if you don't find that $1 million penny, you'll at least have a good story for your friends, and maybe a little extra cash for coffee. Before you go, make sure to hit that subscribe button. If you love the idea of making money with what's already in your pocket, I've got tons more tips and tricks coming your way. You never know when the next valuable coin could be hiding in your couch cushions. Plus, who wouldn't want to make cash just by checking their spare change? We're talking about one special penny that has been causing a stir, the 2014 no mint mark Lincoln cent. You may not believe it, but there's one of these pennies out there valued at a whopping $900,000. Yes, you heard me right, that's almost $1 million for a little copper-colored coin you could find in your pocket right now. So before you toss out your spare change, hang tight and see if you might have a goldmine hiding in plain sight. Alright, let's get into it. First up, you might be wondering what makes a 2014 penny with no mint mark so valuable and how to tell if yours is worth a fortune. So let's break it down now. The no mint mark means this penny was made at the Philadelphia Mint. They don't add a P to their coins, unlike Denver's D or San Francisco's S. So a 2014 penny with no mint mark isn't unusual, But finding one that's worth serious cash is all about its condition and, more specifically, its grading. And here's the kicker: the only 2014 no-mint penny that's valued close to $900,000 is graded as MS-70, mint state. That means it's in absolutely flawless condition, like it just rolled off the mint yesterday. No scratches, no blemishes. Nothing. It's so perfect that even experts have a hard time finding anything wrong with it. Think about it like this: you ever buy a brand new phone and immediately scratch it within 5 minutes? Me too. Coins go through a lot more than our phones. They're shuffled through pockets, wallets, vending machines. The idea of a 2014 penny staying perfect through all that, it's like finding a unicorn at the dollar store, but someone actually managed to do it, and it's making the rest of us wish we'd paid more attention to our change. Now, let's talk about how to check if your penny is in that magical MS-70 condition. First, grab a magnifying glass. You want to look closely at the coin and see if you can find any imperfections. Be picky. Are there tiny scratches? Is the edge dinged up? How's old Abe looking on the front? Any blur on the details? If you spot anything that looks off, well, sorry to say it's not likely a perfect MS-70, but if it looks flawless, get that penny graded by a professional. And here's where I get personal. True story: I once thought I found a rare penny in perfect condition. I was so excited. I had it framed like my first dollar. I was convinced it was going to pay for a vacation or at least a fancy dinner, so I sent it off to be graded, ready for my big payday. Guess what the grading came back, and it was a solid MS-65. Not bad, but in the coin world, that's like getting a B on a test when you needed an A++. Let's just say that vacation fund stayed pretty empty, but hey, I'm still looking. Maybe the next one will be my lucky find. If you think you've got a perfect penny, get it professionally graded, because that's the only way to get that high dollar validation. And remember, it might not be 900K, but even a lower grade coin can still fetch a decent price. There are collectors out there for all kinds of grades, so don't be discouraged if your penny isn't perfect. Alright, so there you have it. If you've got a 2014 no-mint mark penny in absolute top condition, you could be sitting on a small fortune. Well, a big fortune, actually. And even if your coin isn't worth $900,000, it's still a fun adventure digging through your change. You never know what you'll find. Nothing special, right? Well, what if I told you that a certain 2018 D penny could be worth up to $833,000? Yep, that's more zeros than any of us expect from a penny. So, before you cash in that change jar, let's find out if your penny could actually make you rich. Alright, let's dive into the magic behind this 2018 D penny. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly what to look for, why this penny is so valuable, and hey, maybe you'll find yourself a small fortune. 2.0, first things first, why are some of these 2018 D pennies worth so much? Well, it all comes down to the mint mark. A D means it was minted in Denver. But let's get one thing clear: not every single 2018 D penny is going to be worth a down payment on a house. There are just a handful of super special ones that have certain errors or high-quality, mint state conditions. If you have one that qualifies, though, we're talking big bucks. Now, let's talk about what makes these little guys so desirable. There are a couple of things collectors go absolutely nuts for. One is something called a die error. Basically, that's a little oopsie in the minting process, which makes the coin unique. Die errors can look like a doubled image or a funny, extra line on Abe's face or the lettering. Collectors love this because it's rare, and when things are rare, the price goes up. Another thing collectors drool over: the penny's condition. Now, a penny that's been tossed around in pockets, vending machines, and, let's be honest, maybe even dropped in a parking lot, probably isn't in mint state. But if you've got a crisp, shiny 2018 D penny that looks like it just came off the press, you could be in luck. That's what coin experts call MS-70, which is the absolute best grade for a coin. And those ones? Yeah, they're worth the big bucks. Now, I know what you're thinking. I don't have time to become a coin grading expert. Hey, I get it. But here's a quick tip for you. Grab a magnifying glass, one of those Sherlock Holmes ones will work, and take a look at the fine details. If your penny looks practically perfect, no scratches or dull spots, you might just have a high-grade coin. And if you see any oddities, like double letters or extra lines on Abe's face, well, you could be onto something even bigger. Let me tell you a quick story. One day, I was out to lunch, just minding my own business, when I got my change back. I glanced down and saw that little D mint mark on a penny. Normally, I'd just toss it in my pocket, but this time I thought, what if this is the one? So, there I am, in the middle of the restaurant, squinting at this penny like it's the answer to all my financial woes. Spoiler alert, it wasn't worth thousands. But hey, it did teach me to always check my change, and it's pretty fun knowing that any penny could be worth a jackpot. Alright, folks, now that you're in on the 2018 penny secret, it's time to take a good, long look at your spare change. Who knows? That random penny you've been ignoring could be your ticket to a small fortune. And if not, hey, you're only out a couple of seconds and maybe a little eye strained. If you found this helpful, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. We're always uncovering tips, secrets, and strategies to help you turn loose change into serious money. So, click that button and join us in the hunt for valuable coins. Thanks for watching, and happy treasure hunting.